Okay, cool. So it's all recording. Everything on the screen gets recorded. Everything we say gets recorded. I'll show you video clips and drills and examples and bits and bobs. It all gets put on here, and you get a video, the DVD to take away afterwards. Okay. I'll also send you an email afterwards with the links to your specific drills, to training plan for specific for you. And as I said to you before, 28-day access code to the Swim Smooth app. Okay. Now you've obviously been swimming in the squads and doing pretty well actually. Your strokes looking nice. You feel like you've come on the squads?
Yeah, I think so. Like, pace has picked up a little bit, and I'm probably just fitness, bit of strength, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think? What's your opinion on what you think is your kind of main issue? What's kind of holding you back from improving?
So I think my hand entry,
Okay.
my left thumb comes out, and my right thumb I hold in.
Okay.
And when I learnt to swim as a kid, I used to put my thumbs in first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
they used to promote that.
yeah, and now I realise that might cause some shoulder problems. So
Yes,
I've been
exactly.
trying to, only in the last week or 10 days, trying to swim with a flat hand.
Yeah.
And then I think I sometimes snake a little bit from not having a core strength, particularly when I get tired.
Yeah.
You know, like lots of swimmers, I guess, that are
Yeah.
beginners kind of snake up and down the pool.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say those, I feel comfortable with my breathing, you know, like bilateral breathing. I think I've been doing that since a kid, so that breathing both sides feels exactly the same to me, so I'd say that was a strength.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, other weaknesses specifically.
Okay. All right. I was just interested because some people think that they've got one particular issue and it actually turns out to be, when we look at the footage, that it's something completely different. You know, so it's
I don't think my catch is very good. Like, I don't actually know how I'm supposed to do it. I don't know whether I should be feeling like I'm hugging a ball or.
Okay. Well, we can go through
how
that.
you pull, you know, like to make that more effective, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when we look at swimmers, there's two main kind of components, if you like. So there's drag, and we want to reduce drag, things that create drag, and we want to try and eliminate as many of those as possible. And then there's the propulsion side of it. Okay, so we want to increase the propulsion but reduce the drag. A lot of age groupers and kind of newer swimmers, their major issue is drag. So they're sitting low in the water, they're lifting their head, which causes their feet to drop, and this kind of thing. Okay, so. And also, when we look at stroke correction, we look at things in a particular order. So always start with breathing, and whether you're holding your breath. Do you think you hold your breath at all? Yeah, we did some sink downs in the squad the other day. Were you there? We did those. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Normally I don't hold my breath. Today I was concentrating on knowing you were filming me, so I was breathing every 5 on a couple of strokes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, every other day I would always breathe every 3.
Right.
I think just my head was somewhere else.
Okay. So you think you do breathe out normally and exhale?
I think my breathing out is quite good, and when we did that thing the other day, you know, when like a bubble breather we did on the first ever session, and I liked that.
Yeah.
But the other day when you said try and hold your breath for a length,
Yeah.
not hold it, but and then try and breathe out, you know, like what I was doing is hold my breath in. When I needed to breathe, I'd have to breathe out while my head was up and then breathe in, whereas I think
sure.
I'm conscious my head isn't perfect, like it comes out of the water a bit, like you know, someone that's out of breath. But I think that I breathe out, you know, when I'm turning my head, I'm ready to breathe in straight away, not breathe out and breathe in.
Sure. Well, that's the beauty of getting videos, because we can have a closer look at that, because you can't.
Do you
see.
think otherwise?
No. I don't. Sometimes I don't. It's interesting just to kind of get your take on it. Sometimes I don't say these things. I'm not building up to something. It's just interesting to get what your perspective.
And then you say, no, let me show you.
So, you know, from the side-on view, which is kind of the classic pool side view, what we get to see here is the recovery over the water. Now you've got a fairly high recovery, which is good for open water swimming, because you get a lot of clearance. If the water's a bit choppy, it gives you a nice bit of clearance, which is good. What I'm looking at in particular here is your head position, and what's happening with your head as you swim through the water. So ideally, we almost want to think that your body is on a spit, so you're rotating around a central point,
Yeah.
and your head will rotate to breathe, but apart from that, your head will stay still, but your body will rotate around a central axis, okay? We want to be keeping everything kind of a lateral movement as possible. So we don't want any sideways movements with your head up and down, left and right. We want to be just rotating is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking at your head here. Now, that recovery here, see recovering quite low on that side. So that's a low sweeping recovery, very close to the surface of the water.
My hand, you mean?
Yes, so your hand. And when you breathe, which you'll breathe in a second, I think you breathe after this.
Yeah. Fine.
When you breathe, the recovery is much higher. Now that's caused by the rotation. So you're rotating more when you breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a better, nicer arm recovery than it is when you don't breathe. It's quite low. Although saying that, look at that side. You're not breathing on that side, but your arm is high.
Inconsistent.
And when you don't breathe on this side, it stays quite low and almost skims the surface of the water.
Yeah.
All right. So you've got a little bit of a lack of uniformity to your stroke there, and that's because you're not rotating as much on this side. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. At the moment, what I'm really kind of doing is just saying what I see. Now, your head position, when you do breathe, this computer's very glitchy at the moment. It's not normal, it's going to be much better than this. So, you're rotating quite a long way over, as we've just discussed, and your head is not lifting out the water, but we're seeing, it's up a little bit at the front, and we're seeing your whole face. Okay. Now, what we'll probably see when we go underneath the water, when we get to the same point when you breathe, hopefully we'll get that there, is it causes the body to drop. Okay. The higher the head, the lower the legs. All right. You don't actually need to be lifting your head that high. Okay. If you keep your head low and keep it still, what happens is a little bow wave forms around your head. And the bow wave, have you seen any of this? You've seen some of this swim smooth stuff. Are you aware of the bow wave and how that works?
Yeah, like putting your head under a waterfall kind of thing. The water goes around it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, again, sometimes I'll just show you things on here which are quite easily explained, but just so as you've got it visualised for you to take away and have a look at afterwards. Now this is where it started crashing the other day, so hopefully it won't. So there's the power wave. Look, you see around Paul's head there. As he takes a stroke, the head stays low. Okay. And it should be one goggle in, one goggle out of the water. So, and we call it split vision.
Yeah.
It's called Popeye breathing because you put your mouth over to one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that will just allow you to keep that head a little bit lower and breathe into this little space, the little trough behind the bow wave. Okay. If you lift your head up too high, the bow wave gets wiped out each time. Yeah. It disturbs that bow wave. So that's just really something to consider. Just as something for you to try and keep that head still. More still, and as you can see, you don't need to lift it that high. You've got space there. Now there's a reason you're lifting it that high, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, so we've got a little bit of head movement we can play around. This is a fairly small point here, but it's something which you can easily change and will automatically start to lift your body up. You lift your body up, you go faster. It's as simple as that. All right. Sometimes just an awareness, and you can just make adjustments yourself. Okay, so under the water then. Now, again, I'm looking at your head position. Now, what I'm looking at first of all here is where you're looking. You're looking a long way forward. And again, that is lifting the head up. causes the legs to drop lower than they could be. Your bottom's not that far away from the surface. It's not too bad. But your legs are quite low. You're not too bad here, but you're coming down at this kind of angle. You should be sitting nicely at the top of the water here.
Yeah.
A lot of this is driven by the head position of where you're looking. If you look down,
Yeah.
that will automatically lift the head up. Right. So there's two things. Sorry, lift the legs
the
up.
body up. Yeah.
So there's two things there. There's not lifting the head so much when you breathe, and there's also not lifting the head so much when you're actually swimming. You've got the head in the water. Just keep your head lower
Yeah.
and think of it rotating around. So we'll do a little bit of work about keeping your head low,
Yeah.
just trying to keep your head still. If I show you John O'Van Hazel now, I say to people, you almost imagine this guy's got a glass of wine in the back of his head. You know, if you watch this through, his head almost doesn't move at all. It turns to breathe, back to where it was. You could balance him in the back of his head, it wouldn't come off. Apart from when he turns to breathe, of course. But so that's what we're looking for in terms of your head movement and position. So how the body rotates around the head, the shoulders rotate, the head stays still, apart from when you need to breathe. Okay? It's easy when you know how, isn't it?
Well, it looks like a lot of rotation.
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of rotation, he's rotating to, if we draw a line on the surface of the water there. That's not right, don't that way. Just turn it on. So we want to. So he's rotated to that angle. I'm not doing this very well with the measurer here, but that's parallel with the surface of the water. So it's around about 45 degrees we want to be rotating to. We'll have a look at yours in a second, but just kind of, as we mentioned, the rotation there. But that's the angle we want to be getting to each time. Just going back to you a second. So we've got our head position. We need to do a little bit of work and a little bit of tuning on our head position. Now, rotation we've spoken about, and as you mentioned just there, what we've got at that point in time is we've got, just jumping forward a little bit, we've almost got a bit of a catch-up.
Both arms forward.
Yeah, both arms are forward. Some people have the opposite. Some people have where both arms are back and they have no support in the water at the front end. You've got both arms there. So there's a little bit of a timing issue. So you should have one arm out straight, and the other one should be pulling back through at that point. Okay. So you've got a little bit of a delay there and a little bit of pause at the front end of the stroke, which is going to cause you to decelerate. It's going to cause, as soon as you decelerate, your body sinks down in the water again. A lot of these things are linked to each other. So if we, for example, if we work on the rotation of the stroke, then it will automatically alter the timing of when you take, of how your, of when your kind of stroke enters the water and catches and pulls through. So one thing, you look at fixing one thing, and it almost goes along the chain.
Yeah.
So we may end up sorting out some of the timing issue by looking at the rotation, but we have to kind of suck it and see with that.
Yeah.
So we know we need to work on the rotation a little bit, because we can see that on the one side, on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, you're not rotating enough and that arm's recovering quite low over the water. So that's fine there, that's a decent height. And then when you don't breathe, skims low.
Yeah.
And what we'll see here, we go forward to this bit again. when you don't breathe, in fact you're doing it when you breathe as well there, but particularly when you don't breathe, watch this recovering hand. Swings round. Oops. Swings round. And look where it's headed.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we go back to Johnny again. So his arm recovers. Spears in front of the shoulder. Yours is kind of over here just in front of the head almost. So spears in front of the shoulder and extends forwards in front of the shoulder. In front of the shoulder all the time. Okay, so this is going to cause, you mentioned snaking before, this is going to cause you to snake a little bit in the water because you're heading that direction rather than the direction of travel. Alright, so we need to get you lined up. Let's have a look on the other side. It does straighten out at that point as you rotate. Straightens out. Recovering arm comes over the top. See, that's nice. The arm's coming over the top. Over the top. Spear and straight. Over the top. Just again, it's a little bit over that way, but then it straightens up. Alright, so we just need to straighten things up a little bit. And when we talk about alignment in the water, and we're doing drills in the squads at 6-1-6, on the side, that kind of drill, we'll do it again here, but it'll be much more specific feedback to you. Because in the squads, you can only give a certain amount of feedback because of the dynamics of the way it is. It's important that you hold the correct position when you're doing kick on the side. There's a right way and a wrong way, and they can look quite similar.
So my hand is always too high, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
too
and very often that's to do with the flexibility in the shoulders. I mean, this guy's an Olympic swimmer, he's got super flexible, so he's got the flexibility to extend forward and keep that arm high, but also have it in the correct position. If you don't have that range of movement, you have to spear a little bit deeper because you can't get your arm up to that point because of the restriction in the shoulder. So you just spear deeper, that's all you do. And I'll show you a little test that you can do just to test your flexibility. I'm not sure if I've done it with squads before.
No.
Well, basically you put your arms up straight, and an elite swimmer will be able to get their arms right the way back behind their heads because they've got super range of movement up here. Whereas if you think about it, if you put your arms up, some people can only go to that point. So put your hands together, like that. Put them back. Okay, so you've got a reasonable amount there. You're going quite a long way behind your head. I'm not very flexible at all. If you look at me, naturally, without forcing it, that's where I get to. Alright? So if you imagine I'm in the water, that's where I get to.
Yeah.
So the water levels, I'm going to be spearing in deep.
Yeah.
Right? So that's that's the difference between ranges of movement in the shoulders. So I would spear deeper than you would spear. Right? So you're not too bad, but again, we have to adapt the stroke and try and find the kind of the right depth for you. All right? But this is alignment. So what we'll do today is we'll get rid of that. We will. And again, I know you know these drills, but I'm going to put them on here so you've got them on here. We've seen the Popeye. We're going to have just a couple of lengths just to Popeye, just working on getting that head down. We're kicking on the side. So that's the hand position we'll be looking for. So how deep Paul is there? He must be a foot or 14 or 15 inches underneath the surface of the water. Okay.
And that's where it should come in when I swim.
Yeah, you spear into that depth, and then that's the similar depth to, we do doggy paddle? That's where you want to be doggy paddle, because you've speared into there, and that's when you start the catch.
Is the idea of that
not doggy paddle, sculling, I'm sorry.
But when we do that, is the idea of doing sculling to improve like what it feels like to catch the water? Is that the idea of it?
Yeah, exactly. So you do broken arrow, so you get used to spearing into that depth, to your depth, wherever that may be. Sculling, get used to feeling the water and getting that arm out, and not being like this or doing breast. You get used to being in that kind of phase of the stroke, that position. And then we do doggy paddle, which is the next bit. So that's why we do those drills a lot.
Right.
So it's the main component parts of the arm entry, and then the initial part of the catch, and then the part of the pull through. So we'll work on that and make sure you're holding a good position with that. Turn to breathe, head back in the water. So he's got constant exhalation, breathing out constantly. And then we'll progress on to we'll do 6-1-6, and I'll just put 6-3-6 on here. So 3 strokes, back onto the side, regain control, and that's kicking on the side again in between. 3 strokes, and we're practicing spearing in, staying straight, and focusing on our body position. Use the blue line or the black line just to stay straight, so you can see where your hand is. And you can see how this will transfer across to you. This drill, you're overemphasizing the rotation. Because you kick on the side, you're exaggerating the rotation.
Yeah.
And a certain amount of that will transfer into your normal swimming. Okay, so we'll do some work on that. And the broken arrow drill, which we've done in the squads. Broken arrow. And again, this is, I'm not sure if you've seen the video footage of this before, but again, kicking on the side, lift the arm up straight. And this is, again, good for you because you're on your side, so you rotate it right over. You know, we said about your low arm recovery. This is making sure you get a higher recovery because you're coming in from such a high here. Open up the shoulders, open up the chest, and then, well, he almost does a tap on the head and then in. The main thing is that you spear in. I'll play it in real time so you can see it. So nice and high, pause, enter the water. Good pull through to rotate onto the other side. Nice and relaxed. The key is to keep it relaxed as well. Okay?
Yep.
So we'll do that. I'm just going back to you. We'll just have another run through of yours. So those drills will go a long way to sorting out many of the issues that we've spoken about so far. I just want to have a look at your breathing. Take it back to where you're... Yeah, there seems to be a constant. A lot of people think they're breathing out, but in reality they're... Oh, here we go. So you take a breath. Yeah, there's a good steady stream of bubbles coming out there, so that's good. Look at your head position here. Look how...
Lift it
and
right
you can
up.
almost see your chest
Coming up. Yes.
coming up. And that's what's that giving to the water there. It's giving a big surface area to slow you down. Yeah, so you want to be keeping that down.
Yeah.
And then your legs, of course, are down here. So they're the main issues. In terms of once you've actually kind of entered the water. Now, as you breathe, you're extending forward, but what you're doing here is you are pushing down. Okay? If I show you Rebecca Adlington. Find a better angle. Here we go. So she spears forward. She can go super close to the surface because she's so flexible in the shoulders. She engages the catch and she is pushing backwards. All right, she gets the fingertips down and she is pushing backwards. You're pushing down Okay, you haven't got the arm out. You've got quite a straight arm there. And what that does, it will put some pressure on your shoulder. So I'm not sure if you've had any shoulder problems in the past or anything like that. If you do a volume of swimming like this, you will start to feel it.
In the past, I did too much swimming and had a sore shoulder.
Right. Because what happens when you pull through like Rebecca does, you're using your chest and your lats to pull back, to pull through the water. What you're doing here is you're putting all that pressure on your shoulder here. So your shoulder is doing the work. Right. So pushing down here, you're not generating any propulsion. All you're doing is pushing your head up because you're like that. And again, look how low your legs are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to be extending forward, and again, 6-1-6, kicking on the side. That kind of drill gets you used to being in that position, so that you can start that catch nice and early.
So where my arm's in like that.
Yeah. So you want to be.
How do you get from there?
You want to be 6-1-6 is more like, because some people you can hold it like that. Now imagine trying to go into the catch position from there. What do you have to do?
Well, I just pull down like that, but what should I do?
So like that.
To bend my arm.
Yeah,
slightly.
you bend your arm. All right, and that's what doggy paddle is. So you extend forward, bend.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called an early vertical elbow. So you get the arm, you get that bend in the arm. High elbow pull through. And that's what generates the propulsion, because you're using all that as a paddle. Because all you're doing there is you're pushing down. You're not pushing yourself forwards, you're pushing down. And that's sculling, doggy paddle. Sculling, doggy paddle, but working on it all the time, and drilling yourself to your body will start to kind of will remember those actions, and it will transfer into your stroke. This is a big one. This is I said to you, I'll come back to one of the reasons why you're lifting your head. This is it. Because you're losing the support at the front end, which means you have to lift your head to get the breath. All right. If you rotate forward and that arm is there, you can turn. Just simply turn your head. But if your arm is gone, you've got to go like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely what I do. I know that's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
there's nothing there to support me, so I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're all, like I said, they're all linked. Again, they're all linked. It causes the legs to drop. It causes you to slow down. So we just need to get you higher in the water, get that head down, get that support to the front end, and we want to rotate on the surface of the water like this, rather than head coming up, legs coming down, head coming up, legs coming down. Yeah? With me so far?
I'm with you, yeah.
It's quite a lot to take in, but that's one of the reasons it's recorded. And I'll only work through certain key areas today, because you can't do too much yet. Yeah. Now,
otherwise you won't see me next week. Take up cycling.
I'm just looking at the hand entry here. Yeah, so spearing in there, rotating. Your legs are dropping here because you're looking forward, because that arm is already slipping down through the water.
Yeah, so I just need you to explain to me how to get it from there. I think it's the bending that I'm not doing, Dave. If I do the stroke, I would like if I'm swimming here, I just do that rather than.
Yeah, well, we'll go through that in the pool. That's fine. And here's your kind of bit of a catch up here. It's the delay in the stroke.
Yeah. That's
the timing. And that's one of the reasons we do the Unco drill, which we've done in the squad a couple of times. Because you with your rotation, it makes sure you're turning and rotating and breathing at the same time, at the right time. Don't need to worry about that too much for now. It's the same thing. On that hand, if I have a look on the way coming back. Pushing down. Straight arm. In fact, if I have a look. Yeah. So you've got a bend there. You've got a bit of a bend there. Comes very close, comes in, close to the body. See, you are getting you are bending the arm, but it's just that initial part. So you want to be, and that is, so you're kind of pushing down straight at the early part of the catch. So if you were to rotate more, get that elbow up, that's all you're doing is just the difference between that and that. It's just rotating that elbow out, getting that shoulder up. These are things that we just need to practice in the water, really.
Yeah.
Just quickly get this from this angle.
So my hand is coming across my head.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're crossing over the centre line a little bit, not too bad, but there's that hand. We can see the palm of your hand. I shouldn't be able to see I should see the back of your hand at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
You
Because
should
it's
be,
down
you should
like
be down
that.
like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
You're like that.
Yeah.
So you're putting the brakes on.
Yeah.
So water's going this way. You're putting the brakes on there a little bit. So you imagine about it, you're putting the brakes on, and then you're pushing down. There's none of that is making you go forwards. If anything, it's making you go backwards. So these are good things which we can get stuck into. So straight down, pushing straight down, straight, really straight. And then it sweeps across and underneath.
Whereas it should be more out to the side, should it? Or?
Yeah, you're almost. Where's it gone? On that side, almost over rotating on that side when you breathe, because you see you're virtually on your side here. You might get the tick-tock on you. You've got a tick-tock machine which tells you when you hit 45 degrees. You can swim with that.
Okay.
So we can have a go with that. That side's better. That side's maybe a little bit, no, it's a little bit flat. It's a little bit flat. I thought you were going to carry on rotating a little bit more, but you're not. You're quite flat in the water there. And then there's that vertical push down there. Okay. I think that's pretty much all we need to cover for now. It was quite interesting. Your leg kick's okay. Most people's problems with their legs are caused by what their arms are doing, because they just react to any imbalances at the front end of the stroke. So generally, if we straighten people up in the water, their leg kick will improve anyway. But ultimately, for us, the leg kick is more about balance and stability in the water than it is about propulsion.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so
7%.
Yeah, it's negligible. Okay, so head position. We're going to do some work on rotation and alignment.
Yeah.
And then, depending on how much time we've got, we'll do some work on doggy paddle and keep on doing that. Sculling and doggy paddle. And I think that will be it for today.
Yep, great.
All right. So if you want to jump in the water, then pop some fins on.
Yeah.
We do a lot of this with fins on because it just allows you to focus on what you're trying to do. Just stop this.